And it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for this
Thank
time. I want to talk about your sort of role in the wider world and not just sort of as Gollum, because obviously now you're doing second unit directing. Can you talk to me a little bit about how it was seeing the sort of the period of uncertainty with the Hobbit sort of, and then going through to actually being released and seeing it on the big screen?
You mean the period of uncertainty being before we started principal photography? Yeah, I mean, it was extraordinary. There were so many events. It just seemed to be one after another for a while that seemed to be, I don't know, sort of halting progress. And then, of course, you know, the build-up to principal finally arrived, and you know, Pete was ill, and then he got over his illness, and we were all gearing up. And that's actually around the time that I got an email saying, would you like to come down and direct the second unit? So it was very, very close. And I was only going to be going down to New Zealand for 2 weeks to reprise the role of Gollum. And suddenly my life sort of flipped on its head, and there I was down there for a year and a half shooting for 200 days, and it was the most incredible experience, you know, working with, you know, a director who I cherish and love and I've worked with on many occasions now, and he's such a brilliant mentor and clearly gave me this great opportunity, and you know, so there I was with a crew of 150 shooting at 48 frames a second in stereo, big battle sequences, and you know, drama beats and aerial shots, and I mean, just extraordinary, really.
That's really at the deep end.
Yeah,
you're in right there.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to go. Back to Gollum for just a moment, because you're playing a younger version of Gollum. Talk about how the work that you did on the Lord of the Rings trilogy kind of inform how you approach the character this time. Well,
I mean, obviously the building the physical vocabulary and the voice and so on still held true, and the personality as such, the schizophrenic personality, the Gollum and Smeagol parts of the personality were the same. But of course, what hadn't happened in The Hobbit was that he didn't know he lost the ring for the majority of the scene that you see him, and two, he hasn't been tortured by Sauron, so that's 60 years later on, and so there's a little bit more of a spring in his step, you know, he looked a little hotter, and the Smeagol part of his personality was actually really thrilled to see Bilbo fall into his cave. Apart from the fact that the Gollum side was thinking, oh, here comes dinner. You know, here's Smeagol, who's actually able to engage with another human being and play games, and he was very, very excited about that. So it was nice to have that sort of that moment of fun, actually, of fun with the character before he becomes kind of tragically ripped apart by the knowledge that he's lost the ring.
It's an amazing thing to see a different side to him, and actually I was saying to the others that the tone of the film is much lighter, certainly in the first film, but we're going to see it get a lot darker. Can you talk about, you know, not only with the second unit but also with, you know, with Gollum and everything, talk about how the films progress in the next two units?
Yeah, I mean, without giving too much away, it does. It becomes as the dwarves kind of inexorably sort of head towards the mountain, and Bilbo, you know, as they become more racked, and the weight of their quest, and the divisions, and the, you know, the jeopardy that they're all in, and also a sense of the underlying tones from Lord of the Rings begin to play, that this sense of growing unease and darkness and menace, you know, seed themselves into the following two films, and that was always the intention, that The Hobbit and then the Lord of the Rings would be able to be watched, you know, all in a row, back to back, as one big tale. So yes, it does get progressively darker.
Okay, just a couple of questions now on the sort of the technological side of everything, because obviously things have changed an awful lot in the sort of 10 years since you were developing it. The first question is, how did that kind of impact your work on this film, and secondly, I believe that you were at one point developing kind of a studio or an academy, the Imaginarium.
That's right.
Can you just give us a quick update on that as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, very, very briefly, the journey for performance capture has been considerable in the last 13 years. When I shot Gollum the first time round, I was acting on set with the other actors. That hasn't changed. But we didn't do on-set performance capture. I would then have to go and repeat pretty much everything on a motion capture stage. and then I'd put the suit with the markers on and so on. And at that time we didn't do facial capture. My performance was filmed, and then the animators copied and matched. The muscle structure was the same, so they matched my performance frame by frame. This time around, 13 years later, we are in a situation where we can shoot on a live action set at exactly the same moment. So the performance capture cameras are filming me, the live action cameras are filming Martin in this case. I'm wearing a suit with live markers, so they're sending out a pulse because of the darkness and the film lights. They're pulsing like Christmas tree lights, and are being picked up by all of the motion capture cameras on the set. I've got a head-mounted camera which is filming my facial performance, and of course my audio is being picked up. My vocal performance is being picked up the same. So you don't have to have that period of shooting again. There's no disconnect. It's all happens in the moment, and those performances are locked together. So that's the technology on that front. In terms of the Imaginarium, we've been now running for a year. We have a very sort of ambitious and healthy slate of films. Our opening film is George Orwell's Animal Farm, which I'm directing, and so we're at the moment in pre-production with that, developing all of the ways that the animals are going to move. Every single character is going to be performance captured, so that, again, it's all about the authorship of the role on stage with the director and the actors, and them being able to act opposite each other and create that world. And we have a really interesting slate of other projects, which across the board, from film and television and video games and in interactive theatre. So, for instance, how we can project real-time avatars onto screens in the theatre, whether it be putting markers on dancers or actors or even for rock bands. So there's lots. It's in a very interesting space at the moment.
Excellent. Really, really, really pleased to hear it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.